You know, in the fitness world, we hear so much about having the best gear, the coolest classes, building that amazing community vibe.
All the time, it's constant.
But here's something that might surprise you. Even if you think you've nailed all that as a gym owner, just being a good communicator, it's probably costing you. Actually costing you money, and you might not even see it happening.
Hmm.
So today, we're doing a deep dive into this really insightful white paper by Jim Thomas. He breaks down communication strategy specifically for independent gyms.
That's right. And look, if you're listening, you're probably keen on learning fast, getting ahead. So the idea that, clear communication matters, that's probably not news.
No, probably not revolutionary.
But this deep dive, it's not just about being clear. We're going to unpack why just being good really isn't cutting it anymore for running a successful fitness business.
Right, and explore what actually, moves the needle.
Exactly. What makes a real difference.
So our mission today, and we're pulling this straight from Jim Thomas's work, is to get past that basic good communication level. We really want to figure out what he calls transformational communication looks like inside a gym.
And how it really impacts your bottom line.
Yeah, from keeping members happy and, getting your team all pulling in the same direction.
To spotting those hidden costs, the ones that creep in from misunderstandings or missed connections.
Those sneaky financial leaks. Okay, so let's start there. What do we usually mean by good communication? Jim Thomas says there's actually a pretty big gap between that and what really drives success.
Yeah, it's definitely more than just getting your point across clearly, isn't it?
Okay, let's break that difference down. The white paper lays it out quite nicely, kind of a comparison. So on one side, you've got the gym owner who's focused on clarity.
Right. Sending out the weekly email, maybe clear signs up everywhere. They feel like, okay, people get it.
They feel understood. But then you look at the other side of that coin.
And you see someone operating on a totally different level. This is the owner who actually inspires people, their team, their members. They influence behavior. They create real connections. They're not just, putting information out there.
Broadcasting.
Yeah, exactly. They're listening deeply. They're adapting how they talk. They're fostering actual conversations. It's making sure people don't just know what to do.
But they get the why it matters.
Yeah.
Deeply.
That's it.
And that's the core distinction, isn't it? Like Jim Thomas says, being just good helps your gym function day to day.
It keeps the lights on.
Right. But being truly transformational, that's what helps you scale, helps you break through those frustrating plateaus.
It's the difference between, just getting by and really thriving. And if you're stuck at that good level, that's where these hidden costs start piling up. The white paper gives some pretty concrete examples of how this actually plays out in a gym.
Oh, yeah. Let's get into those. Like member churn. That's a big one.
Huge.
If your onboarding process isn't super clear, super engaging, or maybe the follow-up feels a bit
generic.
Yeah.
Impersonal.
People feel lost. They drift. And eventually they leave. That hits your revenue directly.
No question. Or think about your staff. If you haven't really hammered home the gym's core values, what you expect, you might just see, lower morale, less buzz.
A sort of flatness.
Yeah. And a team that's not engaged, they're not giving the best member experience. That affects everything.
And it's not just keeping the members you have, is it? It's also about the ones you don't get. Potential members.
Good point.
If your team isn't really skilled at building that initial rapport, at truly listening to what a prospect needs.
You lose sales. Simple as that. It's easy to blame the price, right?
Always the easy target.
But often, it's actually a failure to connect, to communicate the real value you offer.
Right. Value beyond just the price tag.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there are those little everyday misunderstandings inside the team. They seem small, but they add up.
Oh, yeah. Maybe a new cleaning procedure wasn't explained right, or who's supposed to do what isn't crystal clear.
All that wasted time, that duplicated effort, it just eats away at your profitability.
And, negative online reviews. We can't forget those.
Definitely not. So many of those come down to communication breakdowns you could have avoided.
Like a billing error handled badly, or a last-minute class change that wasn't announced properly.
Or just a member feeling like nobody listened to their concern. In this digital age, those reviews, they can seriously hurt your reputation.
Make or break it sometimes.
And it's crucial to see, like the white paper points out, these aren't just small annoyances, they're signals.
Signals of what?
Signals of a communication breakdown. And in the fitness market, which is so competitive,
Yeah, it's tough out there.
that failure costs you big time, financially.
Okay, so Jim Thomas identifies 7 specific areas where this just good communication really holds gyms back.
Yeah.
Let's dig into these. First up, team alignment.
Right. And what's really interesting here is the difference between just telling staff what to do.
Like giving orders.
Yeah. Versus getting them truly aligned with the gym's bigger mission. The paper argues, just parking orders. That's managing maybe, not leading.
Big difference.
Real alignment happens when the team gets the why. Why this task matters, how their job fits into the whole vision.
When they connect with that purpose.
Exactly. Then their work changes. It's not just transactional anymore. It's transformational for them, too. They're invested.
That makes total sense. People want to feel part of something bigger. Okay, second area, sales conversion.
Yes. This is where you see that shift from, talking at people
A hard sell.
to actually talking with them. The transformational communicators in sales, they ask really good questions.
Powerful question.
Yeah, they listen hard to the answers, and then they shape their pitch to fit that person's specific dreams or problems.
Tailoring it.
Totally. The white paper even hints that if your close rate is stuck under, say, 50%,
Ouch.
the problem might not just be price. It could very well be how you're communicating. That's a challenging thought, isn't it?
It really is. Okay, moving to number 3. Member retention. The main idea here seems to be making members feel seen.
Absolutely. Not like just another number on a spreadsheet. Generic emails, generic check-ins, they just don't cut it.
So what does work?
Personalization. The paper really stresses this. Things like actually noting their progress towards a goal they mentioned.
Remembering their name, obviously.
Using their name. Or even just a quick, hey, how'd you find that new class?
Yeah.
Those little things make people feel like they belong. Like you actually give a damn about their journey.
It goes way beyond the automated, we miss you email, doesn't it?
Miles beyond. Okay, fourth area, brand messaging. How you talk about your gym to the outside world.
Right. Getting that message right so it actually connects.
Precisely. If your ads and social media are just like, we have treadmills, here's the price, you're probably missing out.
It's just features.
Exactly. Great communication and branding. It hits the emotions. It connects with the identity people want. It talks about the transformation they'll get.
So not just selling gym access.
You're selling confidence, better health,
Yeah.
a new chapter. That's way more powerful.
Okay, 5th, crisis management. Because, let's face it, things go wrong sometimes.
They inevitably do, even small things. What's critical here, though, is the difference between just telling people there's a problem
Like FYI, the system's down.
and actually leading through it with empathy, being upfront, having a clear plan.
Handling it well.
Yeah, because a crisis, maybe even just a billing mistake or a schedule mix-up, if it's handled badly because communication was poor, that can do lasting damage to trust and your reputation.
People remember how you made them feel during those times. Number 6 is leadership trust. This feels foundational.
It really is the bedrock, isn't it? And trust, according to this paper, is built directly on clear, consistent communication.
Consistency is key.
Absolutely. Mixed messages, vague direction from the top, feedback that changes all the time, that just erodes trust fast.
So what do great communicators do here?
They constantly reinforce expectations. They keep articulating the why, the purpose. They keep the team in the loop on progress, on challenges. It creates stability. People know where they stand.
Okay, and the final area, number 7, retaining your best talent, keeping good staff.
So important. Getting great people is one thing. Keeping them happy and motivated is another challenge entirely.
So how does communication play in here?
The white paper really points to ongoing, meaningful conversations, regular one-on-ones, clearly painting the picture of where the gym is going and how they fit into that picture.
Making them feel part of the future.
Exactly. And just consistently recognizing their work, appreciating them. If your stars don't feel valued, don't feel heard through good communication.
They'll look elsewhere.
They will. Competitors are always looking.
Okay, so we've seen the pitfalls of just good. Now, Jim Thomas talks about 3 specific roles a truly transformational gym communicator plays. Let's unpack these. First, the translator.
Yeah, the translator. The core idea here is making the big picture relevant to the day-to-day.
Bridging that gap.
Exactly. Taking those high-level goals, the vision for the gym, and explaining how the team's everyday actions connect to it.
So it's not just clean the weights.
Right. It's explaining why. So if the big goal is, say, boosting member engagement,
Okay.
the translator explains to the trainers how being proactive on the floor, starting conversations, directly helps achieve that goal. It gives purpose to those daily tasks.
Providing that context. Makes sense. Okay, the second rule, the mirror. Sounds like it's about listening.
Totally. The mirror is all about actively reflecting back what you're hearing from members, from staff, making sure they feel genuinely heard and understood.
How do you do that practically?
Using simple phrases like, okay, so what I'm hearing you say is, or let me make sure I've got this right, you feel. It clarifies things, builds trust, makes people feel acknowledged. It's powerful.
Making them feel heard. Yeah, that is powerful. And the third rule, the amplifier. This sounds energetic.
It is. The amplifier is about boosting the positive energy, highlighting the good stuff.
Like what?
Like shouting out member successes publicly, celebrating team wins, big or small, constantly reinforcing the gym's core values in a positive way.
So it's about building buzz and motivation.
Exactly. Creating that positive, inspiring vibe that goes way beyond just, the workouts themselves.
Okay, this all sounds really good in theory.
Yeah.
But how do gym owners actually do this? How do you make that jump from good to great? The paper has some practical tips. First one, build a feedback culture.
Yes, this is so fundamental. You need ways for people to tell you what's working and what's not.
Like suggestion boxes.
Yeah, or simple things like quick post-workout surveys, maybe anonymous polls each month. Just getting that input.
What else?
And just asking. Regularly asking your team, maybe asking members, what's one thing we could do better? That alone shows you value their opinion.
Signals you're open. Okay, other strategy. Schedule regular one-on-ones with your team.
Mm-hmm. The paper stresses that even short, focused chats, like maybe just 15 minutes a week with each key person,
Just 15 minutes.
can make a huge difference to morale, to performance. It's dedicated time to talk about their progress, their goals, any hurdles they're hitting, how motivated they feel.
And it needs to be two-way, right, for them to give feedback too.
Yeah. Absolutely critical. A safe space for open, honest conversation.
Okay, next practical step. Refine how your team handles sales communication. It's more than just prices.
Way more. It's about training empathy. Really teaching your team to understand why someone walked in the door. What are their hopes? What are their fears?
Getting beyond the surface level.
Exactly. And equipping them to handle objections well, not defensively. Plus, regular practice role-playing different scenarios.
So they feel confident, natural.
Right. Moving from just a transaction to building a real connection.
Jim Thomas also says to audit your marketing messages. Take a hard look at what you're putting out there.
Yeah, this is a great exercise. Look at your recent emails, your social posts, your website. Ask yourself honestly, are we just listing facts and features?
Or are we telling stories? Stories about transformation.
Exactly. And are we talking with our audience, showing we understand them, or just talking at them? That review can show you where to improve.
Find those gaps. And the last big piece of advice is to treat communication like any other skill, something you train and develop.
That's such an important mindset shift. Invest in it. Maybe run quarterly communication workshops.
Bring someone in.
Could be. Or use online training tools. Build it into your onboarding for new staff. Make it part of performance reviews. Show it matters.
Make it part of the culture.
Precisely.
Okay, so if we were to really boil it all down, the central message from Jim Thomas's white paper seems to be this really powerful idea. A lot of the problems gym owners struggle with.
Yeah, like sales slumps, members leaving, team drama.
Right. They often aren't separate issues. They're actually symptoms of something deeper.
Underlying communication problems.
Exactly. It's not just about being clear, is it? It's about being meaningful, connecting.
Absolutely. And that leaves you, the listener, with a pretty important thought, I think. In today's fitness world, just being good at communication, that's kind of table stakes now.
It's the minimum requirement.
Right. It's the great communication, that transformational ability to truly connect, inspire, get everyone aligned. That's what really drives loyalty.
Keeps members coming back.
Builds a team that performs at its best. And ultimately secures that long-term profit for your gym.
So it really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Where might your own communication be just good enough?
And what's the potential? What growth are you leaving on the table by not making that leap to truly transformational communication, something to really mull over?